My name is John Boyajian. I'm the founder and president of Boyajian Incorporated. We are manufacturers of naturally infused olive oils, vinegars, natural flavors for the baking industry. And what led us here was a need to see what we could do to grow our business, make that growth easier, make it more directed and comprehensive. As an entrepreneur, I knew what I wanted to sell. I knew what I wanted to make and put out into the market. And to a certain extent, I knew how to do it at a very low level. But there were so many pieces that we didn't have in place. You know, we had good ideas. They've lasted, they've held. We knew how to pivot. There were a lot of things that we knew how to do. But we got to a point where we didn't know how to get beyond that certain point. We had tried a couple of times talking to some consultants. We found it very dry, found it very boring, and ultimately very tedious. Just sort of stayed on our own, did things on our own for a good number of years before we discovered Chris and Skayle 360. So I think our biggest challenge was understanding how to acquire new clientele, how to move sales beyond an antiquated system of having a sales rep go from client to client. We'd become pretty much a referral-only kind of business because we didn't know how to go about getting any new business in an efficient way. We didn't know the principles that were important to the market. We had the product, we had the desire, we had the team, but we didn't know how to get it out there beyond a certain point. You know, learning and understanding how to identify weaknesses in the team and strengths for that matter, and you know what to do with it, and take that information and know what to do with it. We were able to better understand the dynamics of customer relations and customer needs. We came to understand certain principles. Again, this goes back to the customer, whether they were pain points or calls to action or key performance indicators. These were all new terms and ideas that we knew a little bit about, but didn't really know that much about or how to implement them. One thing that I found very interesting is there were a whole bunch of new business-based acronyms that we still haven't learned them all yet. I think we must have a list of about 15 or 20 of them, but they all make an awful lot of sense. The Scale Up program really helped us to organize a bunch of independently moving parts in our company and help us build that team and help us work as a cohesive unit. What I liked about the course, and I keep on saying we because there were six people from my company attending all the sessions, so we really benefited from this. The hands-on nature was helped to illustrate real world examples and how they pertain to our business. Again, helped us clarify the roles of individual employees and the way it was set up. Also, and this is really interesting because these sessions were certainly the longest sessions we had ever attended. They went by so quickly; they were 3 hours long, I believe. But they were organized in such a way, and they were delivered with in a certain style, in a certain sense of timing, that not only did it not exhaust you, but it actually we found it very energizing. Interestingly, the first thing that came to mind when I was discussing this with my team was being introduced to AI and how important it really is and how far-reaching it is. We knew about AI and we knew it was out there. How could you not? It was always in the news, but we had no idea just what we could do with it and how we could use that to grow sales, to use it for marketing purposes, to generate spreadsheets, to do a deep dive into a particular customer history. We're still learning, but we use it every day, and not just a little bit. For me, the success of the program goes back to the person who's delivering this program, and Chris did a magnificent job. He is very smart, he's very bright. He keeps things interesting, they're not boring. He is very, very helpful outside of the the sessions themselves. He makes himself available. And always at the end of every session, would let people know, if there's anything you need between now and the next session, give me a call, send me an email. I want to help you in any way I can. And you can't ask for more than that. I mean, he comes with so much good information, and it's so user friendly. I mean, I think we had 15 different companies, if I'm not mistaken. So a whole bunch of different kinds of companies and a whole bunch of different kinds of personalities. He pulled that all together and he made it work for everybody. So I think that says an awful lot. I would recommend this to anybody who is either starting a business or is at a point in their business where they're frustrated with where it isn't going. When we first started, we thought, oh wow, 3 hours twice a week, that's an awful lot. After the first session, we couldn't wait for the next session. It is some of the best time I've ever spent on building our business. It certainly does not feel like 6 hours a week. But if my crew can spend time on something that's going to help grow the business and they walk away so charged that they can't wait for the next session, then that to me says an awful lot. That's a great way to use time. And I'd be hard pressed to believe that somebody would take part in this program and not walk away with some wonderful tools.